Last week I made a post asking for your hottest MCU takes, your most controversial opinions, and you shared 1,089 flaming hot takes. So now I've read through all of your hot takes, which took a long time, and now I'm gonna react to the hottest of hot MCU takes. Let's fight. Let's kick things off with your hot takes on Spider-Man No Way Home. No Way Home sucks.
Why would you say something so controversial yet so brave?
Straightforward. Like you didn't get anything out of it. It didn't put a smile on your face. It didn't make you laugh. You didn't love seeing Andrew Toby. Nothing. It just sucks. This was actually probably the most common hot take. Pretty obvious reason. It was a wildly popular film from less than 2 years ago. And some people didn't enjoy it as much as most of us. A lot of the other comments kind of went into more detail as to their issues with it. No Way Home is the most overrated MCU movie.
Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man.
It relies mainly on previous characters, quotes, references, and nostalgia to please viewers rather than having a good plot such as the higher quality MCU films. It's nowhere near the best Spider-Man film, and it feels like fan service the movie. Now, I'll say I think there's some validity to this argument. I've said since before the movie came out that the setup, flimsy at best. The idea of basing a gigantic event film around a high schooler's bummed out he didn't get into college, so he convinces a grown-up to cast a spell to change everyone's mind, and they don't pause to discuss parameters before starting this invasive, wildly powerful spell. That's not a great setup for a movie. So on the one hand, I kind of agree with that. Or to put it differently, if you take this exact same setup right here and have the consequences of the failed spell be something besides a bunch of cameos from past Spider-Man movies, if it's just like characters from inside the MCU show up, it's a really bland, dull film. It feels very episodic. Like episode 17 of season 2 of Spider-Man, the TV show. It does not feel like the plot of a big, gigantic event film. It's not compelling. Oops, I want to get into college and I didn't stop to think about casting the spell first. Not really interesting. But the reason that people have such an amazing experience with this film is because my alarm is going off. But people can have great experiences with movies for reasons besides the plot, and movies can be great for reasons besides the plot. Love plot. Plot is hugely important, but it's not the only thing that matters. Think about your favorite comedy. The reason it's your favorite comedy is because it makes you laugh, not just because it has a great plot. Maybe that helps, maybe that makes it a little bit better, but if you laugh from beginning to end, the plot is secondary to the fact that it made you laugh. And when it comes to this movie, that it's fan service the movie, well, boy, was it good at being fan service the movie, because it put a big, gigantic grin on my face. It had my theater wigging out. I think it's very rewatchable. It's very satisfying. Even though I have all the issues with the plot that you have, it succeeds at the other thing. Therefore, it still provides a great experience, and that's its job, is to provide a great experience for me, to provide enjoyment for me. And it does that. Beyond that, I think it does have more to offer than just fan service. It finds ways to, in a subversive way, fulfill Tom Holland's origin story through Aunt May, did something different while still being true to what shaped Peter Parker. So I think it does have more to offer than just like, hey, look who it is. Spider-Man No Way Home is actually a terrible Spider-Man movie. Built on a gimmick. Maybe built on a gimmick. People only like it because they let nostalgia cloud their opinion on how bad the movie actually is. Or they had a different opinion than you. There was no reason for Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield to be in this movie other than to ruin the MCU.
That escalated quickly.
Come on now. Like, if you didn't like it, fair enough. If you didn't think it worked, fair enough. But ruined the MCU? Toby and Andrew ruined the MCU? I don't even know what the argument for that is, and you're so overstating your position that you kind of completely lost me. Iron Man should have been played by Cher. Now, if I'm understanding you correctly, if I could turn back time, do you believe Cher would have been a better Iron Man? I got you, babe.
I understood that reference.
All right, what do we have next here? Film speak. Captain America Civil War and Thor Ragnarok are bad movies?
You're breaking my heart.
If you don't know, Film Speak is actually a very good friend of mine in real life. We met over YouTube, and since then, we've actually spent a lot of time together. We text every single week, and over on his channel, he does these video essays. He's got a lot of flaming hot takes, but he's actually thought through them. He has a really interesting perspective on how he comes to these conclusions that at first glance might seem wild and out there, but if he makes your argument to you, you're like, I don't know how to rebut that because you're making a really compelling point. Highly encourage you to head on over to Film Speak, find one of his videos that steps on your toes and watch it and be convinced of his arguments. Hey, real quick, there is a companion video to this over on Patreon with even more of my reactions to your hot MCU takes. You had so many, I was talking for a very long time, so it had to go off in a second video. Join at any level over on Patreon. You'll gain access to that video as well as all of the live streams, my weekly Ask Me Anything, as well as my weekly box office roundup show and a bunch of other exclusive, hundreds of other exclusive videos. The link is down below in the description for as little as $2 per month. You can join and gain access to this video and all of the others. Iron Man 3 is fantastic. Explores Tony's PTSD in a very interesting way. I love how it uses Tony's real superpowers, his resourcefulness and ingenuity. Colin, met him at MegaCon. Iron Man 3 is a top 10 MCU film, along with James Gunn and Ryan Coogler. It's one of the few movies where I can feel a distinct flair from the director, Shane Black. It very much feels like his own movie. Zachary, Iron Man 3 is a top 3 MCU films. There's a bunch of people really love Iron Man 3.
He's the best. I love it.
And while I wouldn't praise it as much as they do, I do not understand the hate that this movie gets. I understand the criticism of the Mandarin twist. Fair enough. But that's just one thing in the movie. There's all the other stuff in the movie, and if you watch it as kind of, once again, one of the things the Iron Man movies did well is being much more kind of character-based than gigantic plot-based. They always have something they're doing with Tony and exploring his flaws. So coming out of Avengers, he's got PTSD. He's trying to figure out what he's trying to do. And I think it does that well. And then once again, it removes the suit. It takes it back to Tony as this resourceful guy. I think that's all true. I would say part of what makes this movie tough for me, just absolutely love, is that its ending is just undone. The Mandarin twist is undone. There's all this stuff about this movie. The most memorable things about this movie are just undone by later films. And so it's a great Shane Black action movie starring Robert Downey Jr. I just don't know that I can say that it's a good Marvel movie, a good MCU film. Ed Norton was the superior Hulk. I agree. Yes! I like Edward Norton in the role more than I like Mark Ruffalo in the role. I've always thought that Mark Ruffalo was kind of a weird fit to play Bruce Banner. I just don't entirely buy him as that kind of nerdy scientist guy. Edward Norton just fits it better for me. And in particular, I don't see them as the same character, even though obviously they are. And so that's been always something that I've found kind of weird and clunky about that. But I like Edward Norton more. I think he just more fits the part of Bruce Banner and what I envision Bruce Banner to be than Mark Ruffalo, who just feels like such an odd pick for that part. And I've enjoyed him in the movies. It's not like I watch Avengers or Endgame and Mark Ruffalo's the problem here. I just don't see him as what I envision Bruce Banner as. The Guardians are a better family than the Avengers. This is another one where I don't think it's a hot take. I think it's built to be that way. The Guardians are a family. They live together. They travel together. It's designed to be a bunch of orphans finding a family in the Guardians of the Galaxy. That even as they explore their backstories, it's all about people who have lost their families or never had their own family, and therefore they found it with the Guardians. That's not what the Avengers has ever been supposed to be. The Avengers are a team. And so which one's the better team? You can debate that. But the Avengers are a team. They come together to fight bad guys. And maybe they're friends. Maybe they have dynamics that have a little bit of a family element to them as time passed. But the Guardians from the beginning were meant to be like a family in a way that the Avengers were never designed or meant to be. The Guardians movies are better than the Avengers movies due to the phenomenal family dynamic, great heart, and amazing soundtrack. Now, I think it's a bit of a tricky comparison because what makes the Avengers movies awesome and great and what makes the Guardians movies awesome and great is kind of two different things. They're great at different things. And when you say this one has a great family dynamic, I agree. Has a great heart, I agree. Has an awesome soundtrack, I agree. But I love the size, the spectacle, the nature of what they did with the Avengers movies too. And so it's a bit of a tricky comparison for that reason. Also, the Avengers movies are, they're team up movies in the sense of let's pull all these different franchises together. That's special in its own way. So I get your point. I don't feel I need to pick which one I like better just yet at the moment, but I see what you're saying there. I totally understand why someone would strongly prefer the Guardians movies to the Avengers movies. Let's dive into some Guardians of the Galaxy hot takes. I think Guardians of the Galaxy is ultimately what made the MCU mediocre. Right off the bat, you could debate whether the MCU is mediocre since they put out some pretty great movies. If you look at all the new characters and even the character development of a lot of characters after Guardians, they are all based after the Guardians. The Guardians are made to be goofy and stupid. It worked for the Guardians, but it's not for the rest. And the next comment kind of has the same exact idea. Guardians of the Galaxy ruined the MCU.
You don't like it?
Might be overstating things there a little bit. Don't get me wrong, Guardians of the Galaxy is top 10 MCU film, but before this movie, MCU wasn't as witty, banter-filled, and sarcastic. This style of humor was then applied to every Marvel film. And I think there's some validity to what you're saying here. At some point in time, there was a shift where every Marvel movie had to be funny. If you watch Phase 1, Incredible Hulk, not funny really at all. And you even kind of watch Captain America. There's a little humor in there, but it's not like the non-stop banter-filled. But I would argue this started with the Avengers and the Disney acquisition. Marvel Studios was purchased by Disney sometime right around the first Avengers. And so you move into Phase 2 and you start having movies that have a little bit more Disney touch on them. And then the Avengers was dramatically more successful than all the other films in Phase 1, even the first Iron Man. And so then you start seeing more of that banter pop up, more comedy being present in the films. I would pinpoint it on that movie. And I think Guardians of the Galaxy would only kind of continue that process, that direction.
What a bunch of a-holes.
I don't know that I entirely see the pattern that after Guardians, they started trying to apply that to everything. But I mean, I think you can see movies that are copying Guardians. I just don't think it's across the board. And I think that I would point towards the first Avengers as when the witty banter and everything, the sarcasm started to be infused into more and more characters. Now, another comment on here pinpointed this at a different point in time. Thor Ragnarok actually ruined the entire later MCU with its silly comic tone, which worked for that film, but ruined the tone for the next ones because the creators thought every character needed to crack a joke in order to be likable. So that seems to be a pretty common theme in some of these hot takes, that at some point in time, the MCU was ruined by having to turn everyone into a comedian. Everyone is just dropping one-liners left and right. There's quipping like crazy. And I've criticized
It's worse. It's so much worse.
some Marvel movies for that, where it doesn't really fit and it feels forced. But like I said, I think the quipping started with the first Avengers. And I think it only escalated, but it goes back to that movie. And then Guardians was also successful, so there was more of it. And then Thor Ragnarok was even more successful with it. So then more and more. And I think it was kind of that trickle-down effect of when they had a hit movie that was really funny and praised for being funny, they went like, no, let's do that with every movie. But I wouldn't pinpoint it on, certainly not on Thor Ragnarok, because I think it goes way before that. And I think it's the Joss Whedon effect. Every character feels like they were written by Joss Whedon after that movie, or at least to an extent you get that Joss Whedon banter. James Gunn makes horrible movies.
What? No.
I would have to know what your argument for that is. It's certainly a hot take. It just feels like, oh, you guys like that? No, that sucks. Because you didn't say why. You didn't give any sort of elaboration as to why this guy that has crafted a bunch of Guardians that took C-level characters, made them into a blockbuster franchise that people love, or how he took the Suicide Squad and made a movie that got great reviews. What is your argument for why they're horrible movies? Not movies that aren't to your taste, fair enough. Or his humor doesn't work for you, fair enough. But horrible movies. That's a strong statement. A flaming hot take of not just, any sort of like connected to it, like horrible movie. That's a bold statement. There's some really terrible, terrible movies out there. And you said James Gunn's movies are amongst them. All of them. But without making an argument, like what's the thing that doesn't work about them? So tough to respond when you're not actually making an argument. That's my reaction to your hot takes. Remember, there is a companion video to this over on Patreon with my reaction to even more of your flaming hot takes. And if this video is successful enough, perhaps this will just turn into a series. If you enjoyed this video, there's more like it. You can check those out right over there. Thank you so much for watching, and keep talking.